Hey everybody, it's Pastor Kelly with the Church of Damascus Road, just checking in with good word. Have you ever been crippled by fear? Or have you ever missed out on a really awesome opportunity because you were scared? Me too. Yeah, me too. I don't like to admit this, but fear has been a primary motivator of mine for most of my life. Just the fear of not being enough or not mattering, the fear that I'm going to run out. But fear is a very powerful motivator, I think, for a lot of us. Our gospel reading this week, Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 through 30, in many ways is about fear. And because it hinges on the idea, oh, do we really trust God or not? Are we going to trust what he says about us? He gives us these gifts and these talents, these abilities. He gives us resources. He blesses us for the purpose of then investing all of those blessings into his kingdom. And that's what he asks us to do. Turn all that over to me. I've given you these blessings. Now give them back to me in praise or invest them into my kingdom. And that all sounds wonderful to me, when I read it. But then there's that part inside of me that's like, oh, look, everything, surrender everything. Because what if, right? Like, what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't end up with anything? What if I lose everything? What if? What if this isn't really true? Can I really trust, God, that you're going to come through for me in these ways? I know what the right answer is. I know I'm supposed to trust you, but oh, like many of us have felt that. Many of us have felt that. And we read a parable like the parable of the talents, and then we get to the end of it and we hear what happens to the person who acts out of his fear and he buries the talents, he buries what God has given him, and then he tries to give it back and he say, look, here, I give you all this back. See, I didn't lose any of it. And then he gets told, you wicked, lazy servant, what are you doing? Like, oh, that's scary. And whether or not we perceive that this parable as liberating and joyful, or if we perceive it as absolutely terrifying, has to do with whether or not we really trust God and trust what he says about us. It's hard to let go of that fear that you'll fail or that you won't be enough or whatever. What's going to happen if I really surrender all this? I don't know. But then when we do, and we let go because we know our way isn't going to work. We know we don't have the answers. We've been trying it our way and it just never works. And we let go and we fall into the arms of Almighty God. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. It's amazing. And you wonder, why didn't I do this before? Are you kidding me? This is what surrender is like. This isn't, there's nothing to be afraid of. That's what we realize, is that all these things that I was so afraid of, they're gone. When you surrender into the arms of God and you fall back into his love, what we realize is there was never anything to be afraid of, ever, ever. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm so thankful that we get to do that. And not just once, but over and over, because I'll surrender and I'll just be wrapped up in God's love and grace. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And then I'll wake up the next day, and for some reason, I will have forgotten about it. And those doubts creep back in, those fears creep back in, and I'll have to do it again. But that's the Christian life. That's what we do. That's what the life of a disciple is learning how to live more and more of my life in complete surrender and trust that God is who he says he is, and he's going to do what he says he's going to do. He's given us all of these blessings, but not to hold on to for ourselves, not to hide away, not to bury in a hole, but to trust him and give all of these things back to him. And when we do, he's faithful. He gives us more. And we get to the end of the story and it's well done, good and faithful